We're going to begin with the argument over what the president did or did not say in a crucial immigration meeting. The conflicting reports over the use of vulgar language firing up again today.
Coming out of that meeting, we had a gross misrepresentation of what happened in that meeting.
You say it was a gross misrepresentation. Senator Durbin has been very clear. Senator Graham has told others that the reports were basically accurate. Are you saying the president did not use the word that has been so widely reported?
I'm telling you he did not use that word, George, and I'm telling you it's a gross misrepresentation. How many times do you want me to say that?
I didn't hear that word either. I certainly didn't hear what Senator Durbin has said repeatedly.
So you're saying in that room you didn't hear any of this sort of lumping everybody together. Is that what you're saying?
I did not hear derogatory comments about individuals or persons, no.
Okay, so this sentiment is totally phony as well, that is attributed to him?
Yes.
All I can say is I was in a meeting directly afterwards where those who had presented to the president our proposal spoke about the meeting, and they said those words were used before those words went public. So that's all I can tell you is I heard that account before the account even went public.
The president is at his Florida golf club, and he's tweeting today, blasting Democrats and declaring a bipartisan deal on DACA is probably dead. Let's start with our coverage at CNN White House correspondent Boris Sanchez, who is near the president's resort in Florida. And Boris, what's the president doing and talking about today?
Hey there, Martin. Yeah, the president is at Trump National Golf Course right now. It's where he spent the majority of the day, though we've yet to be able to confirm with the White House that he is actually golfing. Martin, we're just 5 days away from a government shutdown, but negotiations between Democrats and Republicans have sputtered, specifically on the issue of DACA and the legal status of Dreamers, these 800,000 or so young adults that were brought to the United States illegally as children. And that dispute was contentious before the president's reported comments this week. His comments on Haitians and African nations now injecting controversy into the already wide gap between Republicans and Democrats on this issue. Not only can they not agree on policy now, but they can't seem to agree on what the president even said during this meeting. Here's the president's tweet earlier today, which you mentioned. He writes, quote, "DACA is probably dead because the Democrats don't really want it. They just want to talk and take desperately needed money away from our military." Despite the president's tweet, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, was on one of the Sunday morning talk shows saying that a deal was not dead, though she was promoting the idea of separating the issue of DACA and immigration from any kind of budget deal, something that certain Democrats have said they simply will not do. Here's sound from Kirstjen Nielsen and from Democratic Congressman John Lewis earlier today.
We need to fund our troops. We need to protect them. We need to increase Homeland Security. These are vital national security interests we need to fund. To tie them to a DACA deal where the actual expiration date is in March is irresponsible.
Well, I, for one, will not vote for government funding until we get a deal on DACA.
The important thing to consider here, Martin, is that Democrats are going to be needed for Republicans to pass any kind of budget deal. We're no longer within the rules of reconciliation, so they will need 60 votes to get any kind of deal done. Democrats are obviously using that as leverage to push for a solution to the legal status of Dreamers. DACA, the program that gives these Dreamers legal status, expires in March, so there's certainly pressure on both parties to get something done. The government, again, is expected to potentially shut down Friday at midnight, so the pressure's on both parties. Some Republicans have said that they're willing to entertain the idea of having a stopgap bill that'll keep the government funded. Yet again, pushing the can, kicking the can further down the road, Martin.
Yeah, we keep running up against these deadlines. Boris Sanchez, thank you very much. Okay, plenty for us to discuss with the panel. Joining me now, Amy Parn. She's a CNN political analyst and a senior political correspondent for The Hill. Also with me is Julian Zelizer. He's a CNN political analyst and a Princeton University historian and professor. Hello to both of you.
Good morning.
Hello.
So, Amy, I'll start with you. The president's tweet that DACA is probably dead and it's the Democrats' fault. What is that doing to the chance of any kind of bipartisan deal?
Well, ever since the comments came out from the other day, I've heard from Democrats that it has stalled the deal. They are frustrated. A lot of House Democrats in particular don't want this deal to go forward anymore. They want the president, first of all, to apologize for these comments, and they're holding firm. They feel like they have leverage going into this, and they don't want to bend at all. They want to kind of keep firm and stand their ground, and I think that's what's happening here, what you're seeing play out, that they know that they kind of have the upper hand, and so I don't think you're going to see any concessions from them until they kind of get what they want here.
This controversy over the president's reported slur, it seems to be dividing Republicans in a number of ways. GOP Senator Rand Paul decided to defend the president by attacking fellow Republican Senator Lindsey Graham for making a similar remark in the past. Take a listen to this.
In 2013, Lindsey Graham said the exact same thing the president did, but he used the word hellhole. That we can't have everybody coming from every hellhole on the planet to here. And now everybody thinks Lindsey Graham's a great statesman because he's put out this thing about American ideals and stuff, which was a good statement, but he said almost the identical thing to the president in 2013. So I think we have a selective remembering, and we've decided that, and people have.
But wait. Hasn't the president
news networks, they've decided.
But Senator, hasn't the president earned this skepticism on his own? I mean, he's the one tweeting these remarks.
He hasn't. He has often not helped his case, and I think if he were to further explain or try to explain and maybe not use such coarse language, it wouldn't be this way.
Julian, so where does this leave the GOP as it tries to find a bipartisan immigration deal and negotiates a way to try to avert a government shutdown?
I think it's extremely hard on the immigration deal. Democrats do have all the leverage they need at this point. The president's remark and many Republicans are not saying it didn't happen. So that's the division, are inflammatory and suggest the president's heart is still with very hardline elements in the country on immigration. And a few days ago, the House Republicans were insisting on an immigration bill that is pretty draconian in terms of security and much more than the Democrats are going to allow. So none of this adds up to the potential for a bipartisan deal, and certainly the president's remarks will give any Democrat pause that this is a president they could enter into a good faith agreement with on immigration.